Then we move from the digital and customer to digital and operation. That's another critical aspect. But again, Nicola helped me a lot today with your speech was great because you facilitate the way of conduct the whole conference. Then I will invite you again next year, then no, in 4 years, if we can, of course. And then I will ask my panelists, then Dan Nicorescu, if I say correctly, Operational Director of Cluj International Airport, Ioan Drăgan, founder of ARGONIAN, to come here, and Angelos Astrinidis, CEO of aviBright, to join them. Dan, Ioan, and then we move to another area, but also critical. I will leave you for last because I know what they're doing, but I want also to share with our audience here and also because this will go online, is recorded, to explain about what you do and how you help in this digital process, aviation. Then I'll start with you, Ioan, before I move to Angelos.
Thank you. So we are a small company, which is a spin-off of a company which does air traffic control simulators. So we are in the digitalization of air traffic control education, and we have identified some challenges. I would use this shared word which was used by Mr. Ralo in the morning. He was talking about shared standards, shared opportunities, shared responsibilities. So we were checking some shared threats, having a coffee with my colleagues regarding the Ukrainian events 3 years ago. One of them is there was a statistic at that point, at any one military drone flying in Ukraine, there were 300 civilian drones doing surveillance, carrying explosive components there. So remember the fact that civilian equipment was used in a military area. And secondly, most of these drones were DJI, Chinese production, at the beginning. Now things have changed. But China and DJI has provided both sides drone detection technologies. And of course, this would provide the location of the pilot to the other side. So every time Ukrainians would raise a drone, a mortar would come on the pilot's head after this phenomenon has spread around. So somebody complained, and at some point DJI had remotely stopped all these DJI aeroscopes, so the detectors, from abroad for both sides. So none of the sides would be able to detect the DJI, the civilian drones in this war. And we saw this a second challenge. So one was usage of civilian drones for let's say military purposes, and then having a foreign power control over your defense infrastructure in a way, and actively using it against one of the sites. So we started building based on some European regulation 664 regarding the use space. European Union and EASA, based on many years of evolution of ideas, has defined how they want to control the airspace for drones. They've defined through this regulation that there will be two players, one basically a national monopoly, which will define main restrictions, and one which will do, and the other type of stakeholder would manage use spaces. Maybe on a city, maybe in a port, maybe in a drone-intensive area. So us mixing these three problems with detecting drones which might be used for other purposes than their civilian usage, mixing the European regulations, we have built up a service starting from the idea of shared infrastructure. We've seen a lot of investments into the anti-drone systems for critical infrastructure, mainly at the beginning of these efforts related to military and then going slowly to the critical infrastructure, but with not enough spread given the cost of such investments. So, as small innovators, we're a small company, 20 plus employees and young. We've defined this service, which we call it ARGONIAN DOM, which is a drone detection as a service. What we do, we build our own detection infrastructure. That means we install sensors based on our own expense, and then we provide authorities under our dome the traffic information and the risk analysis that they might require. For some airports, might be a violation of the perimeter and the proximity of the tower approach area. For other authorities, might be ability for some drones to take pictures and survey military or, let's say, sensitive government buildings, so and so forth. So this is, in a very long story, why? So what problem we are solving, and why? Our, of course, long-term goal is to become a new space service provider. And in this way, we prepare our ground infrastructure that provides one of the six services, actually two of them. One is traffic information, to be able to provide in a certain area information regarding actors which are having activities there. And secondly is conformance monitoring. Basically, it's an intersection between the legislation and local restrictions with the traffic. That's the essence of it.
I get it. Different perspective, different area of activity, but also
completely.
important.
I feel boring after, but anyway, thank you for the invitation. I am the CEO of a company called aviBright. We are based in Athens, operating in the last 25 years, but in the last 10, we are very close with the Aegean Airlines, and we develop software solutions to optimize processes, but also enhance customer experience. So we are, from the vendor perspective, we develop technology and we provide the solutions to the airlines. Now we are trying to promote our solutions to other airlines around the globe. Main areas is generally back office operations, like disruption management, what happens in a cancellation of a flight or a delay of a flight, communication with passengers, crew applications, the cabin application of Aegean is our application. Another part is baggage management. We also now target also the ground handling. So we do everything around mishandling bags. So we want to optimize the process of matching a lost bag to the passenger as fast as possible. We use a lot of modern technologies, we try to include a lot of AI. Mostly for our development purposes in our operation, in order to create cheaper, let's say, more cost-efficient software to the airline. We've built more than 100 different projects with Aegean, so we have a great experience now, and we are trying to export our knowledge around the globe.
And you have already
we've already closed some interesting contracts with Emirates, with the number 2 Israeli airline, Israel, with Fiji. Now we have a lot of tenders around the world in South Africa and Azerbaijan. So we're now trying to export our experience and knowledge around the other airlines.
One question before I move to you then. For both of you, you provide something that the client, either the NSP, the authorities, or the airlines need it, and it's critical. Do you see more the need of your service, or when they go more digital and using your, let's say, products in a kind, in the companies that need more of this, or?
If I may start? One of our initial customers was actually the Romanian ANSP, Romața, and among the 6 services that we have implemented, one of them is flight authorizations. They were using a traditional complete a form, send where you want to fly, who you are, your ID is ID of the drone, send it to them. They would take it, say approved or not, put it on a desk, and then whenever the shift which would be affected by that flight would come, they would just pass, you have 5 flights, drone flights, take care of it. Of course, when we put on their table a solution where the operators in 3 clicks, they can apply for a flight, all this is integrated in the, with all the NOTAMs of the airspace, which was in another system. And now they have all of this integrated, and we are now exporting some data in an Asterix platform for them to integrate with air traffic. For Romața, it is dramatically improving the operations in the towers, because they have all this information integrated, and controllers they like to see in one place everything integrated. So this is more than interoperability; it's actually integration of information. So it adds a lot of value for them. The same thing we see with other, let's say, security-related authorities. They had no visibility on the sky. Basically, this is what we're bringing them. We bring them the ARGONIAN actually is a story about, I think it's a Greek mythology, having thousands eyes in the sky, which is actually our story. We are building these sensors which provide them visibility to the sky. So all this information starts providing them information for their other security analysis platforms. So it's part of their digitalization, but actually even more than that, like getting to more insights and getting to more actionable intelligence when we talk about the security component. So it is yes, it's the foundation of digitalization, but it's actually a step more than that. We bring them more information, more insight.
You collaborate also with the CA here, with the house.
With the CA, we have the simulator. The simulator, we did a presentation with them, and apparently there is an interest to elaborate the discussion
Then
on the...
For you, it's only the ANSP, or also can be the airports?
It's both, because for each of them we supply to the same platform separate things. For the ANSP is flight approvals and then tracking traffic in relation to the approved flights. For the airports is security, basically operations security, because we provide them the information of risks in the air and in the proximity of the airport. And it can be also civil aviation, because they are missing, we've seen through discussions we had in Croatia, Hungary, and other places, they are missing the data to do the policies. Because they don't understand the behavior of the drone operators. They don't understand, they see their registries, we have 20,000, we have 30,000, we have 50,000 drones or operators registered. Where are they flying? When are they flying? We show them statistically that 60–70% of them, they are flying illegally. Yes, most of them. Because even people rely that their drone has some self-restrictions. They will not allow you in the proximity of the airport. Yes, but DJI and many of the manufacturers, they put their own restrictions, and they do not respect the NOTAMs in the proximity of the airport. Then, there are various kinds of NOTAMs which come statically or dynamically, and they are not implemented in the drones. So they have certain static maps. This is one thing. Secondly, you can easily overcome these restrictions. So some advanced drone operator would know how to load a certain file on the document, and then you can fly anywhere. Thirdly, there's a lot of legislation which is not obvious. They don't even appear in the NOTAMs. You're not allowed to fly during the night. So traditional operators which don't have a certain class of permits and they are running drones of a certain weight, they need to respect certain regulations. And there's nothing in their technology to stop doing that. There's a lot of hobbyists which they just don't care. With monitoring Bucharest, Cluj and a few other cities, they would fly beyond vision line of sight. They don't know the limits of 200 meters. They fly above somebody else's properties. All of these are one of the businesses that we have a signed module there, finds as a service.
Can you bring them down?
Getting them down is a complicated topic. And we try to stay out of it because why the spread of the anti-drone system is that limited is because it has these jamming component or countermeasures, which are usually classified as military components, and there is legislation very strict about who, like entities, and where they can be used. This is why we have a module which can control remote system, like we are working with a certain ministry in our country. They have the jamming technologies, they keep it, and they can control it through our platform, but it is not ours.
Okay.
So it's not our responsibility.
You've been useful because I have a church in the summer with weddings, they come over the drones over home and we cannot force anything.
It's problematic taking them down because the usual process of jamming affects the whole neighborhood. So you jam GNSS.
But you can find who, from where it's controlled and everything?
Yes, we can give you the location where it launched.
I hope you are not expensive, I might need this here.
This is the advantage of having a shared infrastructure.
Okay.
You don't pay the whole investment there,
Okay.
you pay a small, it's like a telecom.
Okay.
You don't pay for a pole outside, you just pay for the service. And it's something in the order of thousands of euros per month for a perimeter.
Okay.
So,
of the 60-70% you said illegal drone flying, how much of that is intentional? How much is just because they are unaware or ignorant about a law or restriction or a NOTAM? Like how much of it is on purpose, and how much of it is, do you think is just because it's too complicated and people are making mistakes?
So, most of it, we believe it's about people not understanding, and they are not educated regarding the regulations, regarding the restrictions, regarding the dangers that their flight pose in the proximity of the airport, in the proximity of a military station. There are people which we have seen do things intentionally. So the moment you can fly your drone, we have seen, I was telling Dan that we have a record of the drone flying at 900 meters in the proximity of the airport on the final approach. At 900 meters, they were above the aircraft with landing. That was for sure somebody who knew what was doing, because they have unlocked their restrictions from DJI. They were on the axis of the flight during the day, so there is this kind of things. We have also seen, unfortunately, there was an accident in a military factory in Romania. Apparently, during the fight which started there were two drones flying in the proximity. Despite the fact that the factory had NOTAMs on top of it, which imposed a no-fly zone there. So most of it it's uneducated people. This is why I'm telling you that this is relevant for the CAAs to do the policy, and policy comes with education. You understand the phenomenon, and then okay, what do we need to educate? Who do we need to educate? Which is the segment of operators that they need to educate? The ones which are a threat, a planned threat, apparently exist outside of war periods and in urban areas in plain sight. We've seen operators flying on top of military installations and supervising. We have a history of how much they stay on top of them. So that is clearly why ARGONIAN was dropping of such infrastructure. So there is there a risk which is actual.
Then with these attacks, not attacks, but this drone site in Europe that you could identify who was, and you remember in Denmark and
look, here it is not a 100% system, so there is no full detection. We rely on certain technology for detection. There's radio frequency detection where you can decode and then identify a lot of parameters like the location of the pilot. If the drone does not emit this or we don't know the protocols, then you do triangulation, and but this is based on their signal. But if you see in the last years in Ukraine, for example, they switched from electronic communication to from radio communication to fiber optics. That means that this has no electromagnetic signature, of course, else but what the engines produce. And apparently some of the incidents in Belgium in particular have used drones which were not detected despite there was detection infrastructure in that area. So, as I said, there are various layers of detection. The more you go to that residual area, the more the expense of the technology. So there are MIMO radars, but MIMO radars are suddenly active infrastructure which emit. If you emit, you need to have regulations with your radio authorities. It becomes both complex and expensive. So yes, in certain situations, basically our infrastructure focuses on civilian drones, and of course we monitor in this civilian space unusual, unsecured behavior. That is the area where we limit ourselves.
Okay. The same question, not about drones, but even talking about the importance of using the digitalization.
Yeah, it never stops. It also depends on the business.
Do you see a trend to increase or these?
Yeah, we see, because we're doing a lot of projects, so the different business owners for each solution. So if the business owner is innovative, we also help them as consultants, and we create new needs and try to optimize more features. And just for example, since we discuss a lot of AI, we're just including a new AI mechanism for the bag to be identified through the photograph. So when an agent photographs a bag, it automatically says it's black Samsonite with wheels with a sticker. So the data is automatically inserted in our repository. So when a passenger wants to match it, he can match it much easier. So new ideas come up in all areas, and new projects. Another new project we're getting now involved is a tail optimization. So when something happens and a plane needs to change, the OCC department wants to optimize this process. So we're trying to include data analytics and BI and AI in order to make this decision much faster. So it depends on the business owner, how innovative he is or she is, and we are there to help them in our capacity. Right now we're 85 people, and we try to attack various areas, but there's a non-stop projects coming in.
Dan, you come from the airport side, then you do operations in Cluj. You know, for those who don't know, Cluj is a really beautiful city in Romania. I've been, I collaborate with the Cluj team over the last years, and really, definitely, I recommend you to visit Cluj. Then, you are on the operation side, but you do more using with the digitalization, and you have. A year ago, or 2 years ago, you have a new terminal, a new infrastructure. Romania joined a Schengen area. Then also, this affect your operation. Then, How important is the use of digitalization in your operations?
For sure, we understood, I think in the pandemic period, that we need to start from a moment zero. And digitalization, it was a requirement. And nowadays, we understood that we need to keep the line with the future. Because when we speak about the future, we can associate with technology and obviously with digitalization. And let's say, for example, nowadays we intend to start the constructions for new for apron stands. We will start to build a photovoltaic farm, a big one, just to be independence from electrical side. We started to implement also the monitoring of lighting system, an intelligent system of monitoring of the function of the system, and that's why digitalization in operation, it's a very good, let's say, it's a vital method to implement it. From the operational side, we want to be prepared for the future. This year to start a project, a major project for Cluj Airport, which is the first regional airport in Romania. The operationalization of AOCC, Airport Operation Control Center. So basically, we will speak about an airport operation database of resource management system to implement, because we want to be prepared for the future, for the tendency of growth of the traffic of the passenger, and from a safety view, we want also to implement an incident reporting system, a digital process. Of course, it exists at the European level. We speak about e-cares. Each airport operator needs to report. For example, if you speak about regulation 139, but it's vital for the airport and for all stakeholders to find out the information, even if we speak about security, even if we speak about safety or voluntary reporting, to have access in real time at this kind of information and to take actions immediately.
We talk a lot about AI. Do you use more and more AI in your operations?
I can say you that we started to use it in the entire organization. For example, we started to develop something like an internal AI structured by each department for security, for operational, for economics, for example, to become more efficient the work.
As we talk, use what Nicolas said about challenges, what are the challenges using more digitalization or AI?
I think the first point, and we started already in Cluj, is to establish the level of the access to the information. Who is how to say? Who has approval to use a system, for example, and to have access to sensitive data. Let's say I have this example in my aeronautical data. Not everybody it's allowed to work with this kind of data, to issue, to validate, to verify this kind of process. And a challenge, I think, will be the human factor, let's say, because the technology is moving very fast, but the human needs time to adapt to this kind of technology. And another challenge, I think, for sure, we speak about humans that understand that AI will do all their work. AI won't do all your work. It won't replace your capacity of decision. And that's why the balance needs to be maintained.
And if you can trust AI,
And exactly.
You know, you said you work with Romata. Do you work with Cluj?
Not yet.
Okay, then how you find?
Not yet, but we monitor their activity.
But how you find what Ioan said so far? Is it something of interest for you?
Yes, it will be in interest for us because we speak about. We spoke already
Okay.
about
That's good.
about detection of the
They call me
drones.
the networker, then I need to justify this.
And the detection of the drones, if you don't have this kind of system, let's say, it will impact in a negative way your operations.
Yeah.
Speaking about safety and also security, because it's in the both sides.
Any question? Monsieur.
Well, first, thanks to all of you, to all the moderators, speakers so far, moderators, you always brilliant. And I didn't want to occupy the scene because
No.
I've talked already too much, but I want to congratulate all of you. My question that comes to mind, and I had the chance to be in Cluj for the first ACI Apex review many years ago, and David Chicho's leadership was instrumental. And I think it's the first time that we had an IQ person, I was not regional director then, taking a hat from ACI because I was doing this for ACI. But yeah, I could testify there's many interesting things going on there. The place is beautiful, the wine is delicious.
We'll go again
the food.
in September. I'm trying to bring Toshio. So
Oh, that you know it. And I think we will actually, it's very probable that there will be a high-level state visit in Romania this year. The question I have, and when I talked about digitalization, I saw some similarities with other issues which are not that maybe sophisticated, but we talked about assistance to persons with reduced mobility, where the need is there, there's a cost, there's an investment, but we always talk about prioritization because everything is important. The question was asked to our colleague Boris on, where do you put the investment? Do you stop this? Do you continue? And I saw some success stories in different areas of aviation. For example, passenger with reduced mobility, I experienced it. I knew it from the IQ provisions and from the dogma. I experienced it from my flesh, the good, the bad, and the worse, but also the excellent. For example, Roma Fiumicino, and I'm always interested to know what's behind the success stories, not only the horror stories, but the success stories. And that was very simple. It was a very strong alignment between the government, the authority, the aerodrome operator, and the main air operators, the airlines, and of course listening to the users and to the associations. For these types of developers, I guess it makes a big difference if you have a strong alignment between the government policies, the regulator, how much it supports you, or regulators often they come up with rules. I'm talking about in here there are two levels, the European and the national, but often they also have initiatives to support. Your role, the partners from the industry, air operators, and how much do you listen also to the end user who is the passenger? So how much in your experience, and this is a question basically for all speakers, have you seen that this alignment to support new initiatives has been instrumental, and how much the lack of alignment has been a challenge or a showstopper or creator of delay in your initiatives? You don't need to mention specific names, but to see how, and if we can do something, as the beauty is we have a variety of stakeholders to support this alignment.
I can start, but it's not in your direction, it's on the other side. Let me start with the end. one of the authorities, when we met them and proposed them, look, we are doing this. This is our civil aviation authority. Said, you are illegals. How are we illegal? What law describes this responsibility that you are monitoring drone? This is for the army, this is for the other ones. I said, look, I'm not illegal, I'm outside of the law. And as a private sector innovator, I can be there. This is my space of innovation. The fact that there is no regulation around these things. So we are currently running in many of the European countries in an unregulated space with this kind of detection, because we don't do counter drones. Counter drones is very well regulated. Drone detection is not regulated at all. There's a big difference. There's the difference between the military infrastructure and the civilian monitoring. It's the same equipment like you would have a wireless router. But coming back to authorities, this was the perspective of civil aviation authorities. The ANSP looked at us, you are giving us trouble. If I know about the illegal activities of drone operators in the proximity of the airport, and I have not acted upon it, I have a problem. Because I have known and I have not acted. So they told us, you are getting us trouble. Because even if I know, they don't have the means to take them down. Because it's a big problem. In the Romanian legislation until last year, it was only the Air Force. And the Air Force, they would wait for the drone battery to run over instead of running an aircraft to check whatever wedding filming was happening. So, in my experience, I'm running from one agency to another, trying to pitch our solving of a problem, and there is no alignment. On the other side, like in any change, there are small actors inside of these agencies which understand and say, look, I think we should leverage this in a way or another. So we have started identifying this kind of early adopters in certain agencies. Like it was in Romania, for us it was the ANSP, who said, yes, we need this, we'll find a way. And inside of this ANSP was somebody who said, okay, I will drive this change. And they called the Civil Aviation Authority. It was no longer a private entity, it was called the Civil Aviation Authority, it was the ANSP. And they said, look, we would need this integration so that we make things better. And then we found an agency which was holding the e-government infrastructure. So, okay, we can host part of your microservices here so that we protect citizen data. So, there is no natural convergence of public authorities, but with the right push from the private sector, sometimes including political push, we can start structuring things. And then eventually those probably will materialize in a policy, in a legislative change or other things. But look, for me, 2 years until such a process happens, I have 20 people to feed. So I need to find a business around it. And this is how actually this drone traffic as a service came up, because aligning all these authorities, it's not easy. And it takes one to go against you, and they can block many against you. Say, what is this civilian guy doing in this highly regulated area?
Is there any regulation here regarding this?
It's a very sensitive subject because it's an emerging one. We actually will have a workshop in Poland, in Krakow, in July, on counter-US. But it's mostly regarding mitigation against the events that you mentioned, where we have US at close proximity of their boats.
Can you join?
We will have to see, because this is for the CAs. So definitely the Romanian CAA will come, and they can definitely bring some messages. I'm not sure at this stage we will have the industry present. I don't think there will be a level of of sensitivity, but definitely the CAs are encouraged to share experience and to bring innovative solutions, because you talked about innovation. Innovation is a space that, you know, we all agree that it's essential to have, but it's not in our DNA because we are very conservative. We are innovative by definition, but at the same time, we are conservative. So it creates a sort of psychological dissonance, because we want to encourage innovation, but we have these rules and this law that is the first thing that we put forward. So there has to be a balance, and that's what we say. We talk about sandboxes, you know, small explorations on a smaller scale, where you mitigate the risk for safety, for security, but you let innovation grow. And I think the success that for many European stakeholders will be the ability to explore. More and more we are seeing this. We are seeing states in Europe which are willing to do it, not only outside Europe. You mentioned Singapore or Gulf states, but yeah. So it takes, there has to be understanding from both parts, that the regulators is not as if they don't want, but they have a huge responsibility, because when they're allowed, then there's accountability. But by understanding each other and creating these possibilities, maybe on a smaller scale, you can develop a project that can be then extended.
Dan, you want to respond?
Yes, in our case, we have a solid collaboration with the Romanian CAA, and also with the stakeholders on Cluj Airport. I can express shortly. For example, when a new regulation appears, for example, which modify Regulation 139, we are informed by Romanian CAA, and we are asked to provide shortly metrics of compliance. That's why are very important the audit of surveillance, and more of this, the internal compliance monitoring process. And coming back at Cluj Airport, when we will have new mandatory requirements, we activate the local runway safety team, for example, to process this new requirement in internal, basically, with all stakeholders, with the ground handlers, with Romața, for example, that you mentioned. And we also, as an airdrome operator, because we have a requirement coordination with the organization in the perimeter, we make external audits for ground handlers, also for Romața, just related to applied requirement.
This is not applicable. We don't do anything with the authorities. We follow the rules that is given from the analysts from the airline. So we just cover that.
You have safe rules. No interaction. Yeah.
Very quick question, it's applicable to all of you. It's a yes or no answer, really, to be honest with you. All of you
It's
are...
like the Congress in the States now. They're asking.
It's amazing. One of the common things I think I notice is you're all collecting large amounts, significant amounts of data from the type of work that you do. So my question here is, on the one hand, there's a tug of war that we want to protect data and keep it, GDPR and privacy. But on the other hand, all of these new tools that we have are data-based. And if the more data that they can consume, the more we can learn. So my question is, do you believe that data should be anonymized and be given always to the public or entrepreneurs or other innovative ventures in order to act in the best interest of the public so that we can use this data to improve methods, improve technologies? Or do you believe it's more important to protect the data and keep it from being used? Which do you think is in the better let's say, mindset of the
For us,
humanity?
we are instructed to be extremely strict with the data, and it's owned by the airline.
Okay.
So it's anonymized, even internally for reports. Most of the time, it's anonymized. Only if passenger-specific situation they need to understand the data. So
But is
Our
that
systems are not
is-
so open, so.
But is that GDPR driven? Or is
Yeah,
that, oh, yeah. But in your opinion, do you think that's a barrier? Do you think GDPR is a barrier to future innovation?
Yeah, of course. It always.
There's a lot of
stops us
discussion
in,
also in IATA because there's a lot of data that is not served because everyone.
And it's
It's
ridiculous.
an asset for
Some
the
data
airlines.
seem to be, sensitive, but it's actually not so sensitive, and it doesn't allow us to keep more innovation, more reporting that might be useful.
Yeah.
The answer is yes.
I apologize. I'm sorry.
But if we would go in which of the yeses, in our platform by design, data and personal data are separated by design, especially because we knew we would deal with government agencies and they would try to kill us at something, and this is one of the things they wanted us to kill and they couldn't. So all this data basically for us is like personal data is kept in a microservice which is very well controlled and is hosted in a government data center. Everything else is somehow our asset. We are in the end a data company and we have actually open APIs to which we sell this data, anonymized data, traffic data, basically, it's traffic information. Because we actually want to build on top an ecosystem of other smarter players than us that can leverage this data and, provide, there might be a company who do security for special agencies, intelligence based on this data, and they will take it and build upon it. Great. So we are for this kind of business, and we believe there is no breach of privacy because we have done the GDPR
Separation.
compliance at the beginning. That data we don't want to touch, and the rest we have designed the business around it, so we need to provide it open.
Yes, for the second option. With two mentions. At Cluj Airport, for example, we are certified as GDPR users, and we have also cyber protect of this kind of data. And the second complementary mention will be we live in a present which don't make some difference between sensitive or non-sensitive, because even the non-sensitive information can be used in a wrong way to amplify this kind of process with bad intention, obviously.
Interesting.
Any other question? Then now we're brought at the end. How you see the future in the next year? How you see things regarding digitalization, the use of AI in the operations?
With many challenges, but also with many satisfactions. But even this, the future must to catch us united, because in this domain the communication is vital and working in team at a global level.
Yeah, what you said is also what Nicolas said, that we need the collaboration, yeah. And do we need, before I ask you the same question, do we need more collaboration between the stakeholders?
No, look, collaboration is there. I think we need more openness. Despite the different worlds, regulators, operators, private sector, public sector, defense sector, there's need for more openness to collaborate with the other side, because there's a lot of opportunities there, and also there's a lot of challenges which can be only solved in a collaborative way, like very different sites. And with openness you can solve it. If you just lock yourself behind regulations, behind laws, behind mandate, the speed technology, society, economy evolves, we leave these organizations behind a lot.
Are you optimistic?
Of course.
Regarding the openness, I mean, not as a person.
it's multi-force there. I think it, as I said, the change given by AI, by technology progress, about the threats and opportunities, it's so big that it forces things in that direction, more and more. Look at even at European Union trying to do something about this international competition against US and against China. This cooperation has been much more intense in the last 5-10 years than it was probably before that. And these factors around proves that it is needed and is the way out.
Then, next year?
Next year, here.
Last word?
The last word, I just want to mention from our perspective, the threat, let's say threat. Right now we're in a situation as a development company to understand how AI is affecting the generation of software. So it's very tricky because some things may be done much easier now, so there won't be a need for junior people. So I'm still trying to understand how people coming out of university will get involved in this, and how from a junior level there can be senior level experience. We've seen now code developed automatically, so we needed like 15 days of a junior developer to do this, and now we can do it in 2 minutes. Or a document to analyze a user manual, to create a user manual, we needed a writer. Now we don't need a writer, we can do it automatically. So we're trying to figure out in the next year what our workforce would be like. Will it be just senior people and some agents? We're still trying to figure out.
You will need an MBA graduate from aviation.
Oh, yeah.
And AI agent.
An MBA degree.
By the way, I was ready to send my kids to the MBA, but maybe next year.
Well, thank you for being all of you. 1 second before we close, I don't have a lot to say. Then I would like to thank all of you. I would like to thank Nicola. I know he's busy. We are all over the world. Finally, we managed to bring it. You know, I brought 2 presidents, 2 sections. Not yet Juan Carlos. Next year will be here. Then finally, it's you that you managed to come. Then
4 years you have to wait.
yeah, 4 years. You know, Salvatore 2 times. Then thanks. An honor to have you here, and also Christos earlier. I apologize, I have to leave, but have meetings, and also Nicola in the afternoon have to meet with the minister. Then it's really a discussion, in progress discussion about digitalization. Then I would like to thank my partners, Vicky and Thodoros, and Travel Daily News, that we do this event together. And of course, without the support of the sponsor, would not be Passport, Petro, and the University of the Aegean, and also Ioan and Argonian, it was not possible to organize this nice gathering, a nice event. Things are happening, and stay tuned. Time flies. Then we had the first edition almost a year ago. We are in the second. Then hopefully all together we'll be here in the 3rd edition and see the progress of digitalization and AI. And then you might give more food for thought for next year.
We'll send our agent.
Yeah. Then thank you for being all here. Thank you very much.